motherfuckers is crazy. I said, I got to talk. I got to tell what I feel. I got to talk about my life as I see it.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Built4Anything Podcast. I'm your host, Hertz Pierre Lewis. And if this is your first time listening to this podcast, a couple warning shots for you. First of all, there will be cursing. So if you're uncomfortable with that, please turn this off. Also, I do use the N-word quite frequently because I am from the East Coast. I am a so-called black man. And when I use it in a form of endearment among my peers. So it may slip out every now and then. If you're uncomfortable with that, please feel free to turn this off. All the opinions are my own, and you may disagree, and you may not like some of the things that I say, and that's okay. It's not that I don't care about your feelings. It's just that I don't care about it more than I care about my own. So, let's get on with it. In this podcast, we're going to talk about Fabolous and what many, many young men out there can learn from what he is going through right now. If you are unaware, the New York-based rapper Fabolous is currently being accused of domestic violence from his longtime on and off partner, Emily B. And the reports are quite shocking to many people out there. And before I get into exactly what is being said allegedly that he did, I want to take the opportunity to tell you guys this. These are situations why you should not glorify and idolize a lot of these celebrities and their relationships or these so-called relationships, because you truly do not know the dynamics that are involved in these said relationships. And so let's get into what he's accused of doing. Now, allegedly, the rapper said that he would kill her, that he added, but he did not want to go out like that. She also told the cops that she feared for her life because he would turn violent towards her. And she asked her father to remove 2 firearms from the rapper's home. Fabolous ultimately confronted her father, and her brother when he couldn't find the weapons, and which they have on tape, by the way, which is not a good look for Fabolous. When he could not locate the guns, the defendant left the house, but not before informing the victim, her father and her brother, that he had a bullet for them. Not a good look, man. So he's being charged with 3rd-degree aggravated assault and 3rd-degree terroristic threats. He also hit her several times and apparently damaged her 2 front teeth that she ended up losing. So some background on these two. Now, they've been together for over 10 years. He's 40 years old. She's 37. They have 2 children together. She has 1 prior to meeting him. And she's best known for being on a reality show, Love and Hip Hop, in 2011 and 2012. So that's some background on that. So here's my message to you brothers out there. It's just not worth it. Okay? It's just not worth it. It's not worth it to put your hands on a woman, be sent to jail, because I assure you that the system will not have mercy for you. And also, you have to make sure that the woman that you're with, you got to be selective. See, here's the problem. A lot of men out there, and I'm talking to the men specifically, and I blame the men in these situations because you can't allow anyone, specifically a woman, to cause you to get so irate that you would put hands on her. That shows a lot of weakness in you as a man, because a woman will test you. That is a woman's job. And what I mean by that is this: a woman is going to hold you accountable. So if you say, hey, I want to marry you, or I want to spend the rest of my life with you, all that pillow talk, you got to understand that that woman is going to remember that. And if you say you're going to take care of her, she's going to expect you to take care of her. And so don't make promises that you can't keep, because they will hold you accountable. And a woman knows how to push your buttons. But it's up to you as a man to know your limits. And so if a woman can get you so upset to the point that you're willing to put hands on her, then that's not the woman for you. And you need to check your temper and set your expectations, because it's just not worth it. There is no pussy in the world. I don't care how fat her ass is. I don't care how big her titties is. It is not worth your freedom to put your hands on a woman. And I'm be honest with you. When I first heard this situation, I immediately thought, you know what? Most times, what would get a man to that point is usually if the woman cheats on him. And here's the ironic thing, right? Especially in this case, most rappers, they travel, they're banging groupies all the time. So you best believe he's been doing his dirt. And I'm pretty sure she's aware of it. They've been on and off again for years. And so for him to get so irate at her, most of the time, if I had to bet money, there's probably something along the lines of another man that got involved, or he got wind of, and, he just couldn't handle it. And that's a sign of a weak man. If a woman is going to step out on you, if you guys have a committed relationship, then it's on you to just keep it moving. And see, here's the thing too. If you've been with a woman for 10 years and you have 2 children with them and you're not engaged to that woman, then obviously you know that that's not the woman that you ultimately want to be with for the rest of your life. Now, let me take a step back for a second. Marriage in this society is extremely risky for men. So obviously, someone in his position as a rapper and has millions of dollars at his disposal, obviously it would behoove him not to get married. But also you got to pay attention to the characteristics of the woman that you're with. And before you impregnate her, and whether you marry her or not, now you have to deal with this woman for the rest of your life. You have to make sure that this is something that you really want. And if you're someone who can't be in a committed relationship, let the woman know. Most women know that their man is going to have other women. I firmly believe that it's the hiding that gets us in trouble. If you're a rapper or entertainer or actor and you're taking care of a woman and you can satisfy all her needs, pay her bills, make sure she's straight, if you let her know that you're not a one-woman man and that you prefer to have multiple relationships, i.e. the Floyd Mayweather approach, most women, as long as their needs are being met, and their position isn't really threatened, they could care less. Most of them will go along with it. And I know there's a lot of women out there who's going to hear that and not going to agree. So be it. So for him to catch himself in this situation, it ain't looking good for him. They got him on tape, acting irate. I mean, it's just not worth it. Fellas, you got to get that bitch assness tendencies, those female traits out of your system. A man needs to know how to lead in his relationship and know the type of woman that he's dealing with and know how to moderate that. So you got a lot of guys running around who are simps, who are easily get rattled by what a woman tells them. And that's just not going to work. You got to be able to block certain things out, and you got to be able to set a standard so that way that woman knows her limits, and that way you can be in a comfortable environment. Because if you got to, break up with your woman all the time, or you kicking her out, or she's kicking you out, that's a dysfunctional relationship. So there's this narrative of, well, that's how relationships are supposed to be. And men, you're supposed to just stick through it. She don't love you if she ain't crazy. If she don't go upside your head with a frying pan, she don't love you. That's not love. That is dysfunction. That is chaos. And you have to do your best to eradicate that from your life. And some of you men out there shouldn't even be dealing with women because you don't got your shit together. Because if you don't got your shit together and you run into a woman, she's going to remind you of your lack of guidance. She will remind you that you are not who you claim to be. So you got to make sure that you got your shit together. And that might mean that you got to be alone for a while. And you got a lot of brothers out there who can't be alone for more than 5 minutes. They feel like they got to always have a woman around them, or they got to be hopping in and out of somebody's bed. You got to be able to focus on the things that you need to be focusing on, because the women is going to come. And in life, you're going to have women that act as concubines, and then you have good women out there. But you have to be in a position in your life where you can accept the right woman in your life. And if you still feel like you need to run around or play games, you just got to be upfront with these women. And it doesn't mean that you being upfront doesn't mean that there's not going to be drama from that woman. But at least you let her know up front. And if the drama comes your way, you got to separate yourself from that and stop acting like it's normal for these things to happen. And you got to be really careful who you give your seed to. Brothers are running around getting all kinds of women pregnant. And then when they get caught up in the system with child support, they want to be mad. That's your fault. That is your fault. You didn't do your due diligence. It takes a long time to get to know a woman. And in Fabolous' case, he's been with her for 10 years, so I'm pretty sure he should have known what he was dealing with. But it was probably too late because he already had 2 kids with her. So that tells me he just kept her around and felt like he could still do his thing on the side. Because, that's how rappers are. That's how most guys are. Let's just keep it real. especially if you got a lot of money and you doing tours. Please. The way he was looking at it is, I ain't married, so I could do what I want. Technically, he's right. You're either single or you're married, according to this society. There's no in between. And so brothers could learn a lot from this situation. Make sure you vet the woman that you're with and that you take your time, but also make sure that you're in the right frame of mind to handle a woman, because handling a woman is a responsibility. And if you want to have 3 women, that's 3 responsibilities that you have to be able to take on. And if you can't handle that, then don't try to be a player. Focus on your purpose. Focus on building yourself up. And when you run into the right woman, you'll be able to recognize it. But stop thinking that dysfunctional relationships are the thing, because it's not. We need to start setting a better standard for how we deal with women, particularly liberal women. And it doesn't matter. I don't care if you so-called black, white woman. It doesn't matter. Women in general. Because men, we got to do better. Because a lot of these things that are happening to us in these communities is our fault. I don't blame the woman. No. Because the man is supposed to set the rules of engagement. And most men out there have not been doing a great job at that. And therefore, if you allow the woman to be able to lead you and set the terms, you're going to end up in situations like this, because the system favors them. Divorce favors them. Child support favors them. When they go to the police and they say you put hands on them, the cops will come and find you. Whether you did or not is another story, but they are obligated to come and get you. So with that understanding, you have to be extremely careful. And you have a lot of brothers that haven't been taught how to manage their emotions. So a woman can bring out that feminine ways about them. You can't be arguing with a woman. I tell this to a lot of younger brothers around me. And, I say a lot of things to guys, and sometimes I kind of see it go through one ear and out the other. And I just say, you know what? You'll see for yourself. But fellas got to understand that you can't carry yourself that way. That you have to understand the dynamics of the society that you're in. It does not favor you. Stop arguing with women. It is not worth it. You can't out-argue a woman. Period. So why keep trying? Make your point. Either they go along with it or they don't. But the back and forth, no. Especially not random women. Now, people that are close to you, siblings, your mom, you may have to have discussions with them. You may have to go back and forth with them. That's different. They have different intentions for you. But as far as being in relationships or just people out there on the street, why? Why? That's not what men do. A woman acts up, tell her it's all good. I'll see you later. And you write her off and you keep it moving. If you can't do that, You have no business dealing with women. Period. And again, I don't care how fat her ass is. I don't care how big her titties are. I don't care. The same rules apply. And if you can't abide by those rules, then you got deeper issues. And that's real talk, people. That is real talk. Because there's too much dysfunctional relationships around us. There's not many good examples. And if you are looking at these celebrities as examples, I feel very, very sorry for you. Because a lot of those relationships are made up to hide the true sexuality of the peoples involved. And so you got to look at your real life and what's happening around you and understand that you need to keep both eyes open, and especially if you are successful. If you have a decent job, you got things going for yourself, you better be taking your time, and you better screen the woman or women that you bring into your life. And you need to be able to handle that. And if you can't, leave it alone. Because, wait for it, it's just not worth it. It's not worth it to have a domestic violence case on your record. It is not worth it to be raked over the coals through the court system, because you will not win. Period. The woman knows that. The court system knows that. Some of you niggas out there need to be aware of that. So before you try to match yelling at a woman, or you want to match her in arguing, just keep in mind, you are fighting a losing battle. And until you start to set a standard for what you are willing to allow and not allow, then you will truly get what you deserve. That is the way of life, any way you cut it. People don't treat you the way you want. They treat you the way you allow them to. So learn from this situation with Fabolous. Do better. And I believe that if you know better, you do better. And that's why I'm here, to bring my insight, my point of view. And again, if you don't like it, that's too bad. I'm only going to share my perspective. Those that want to heed it, you're more than welcome to do so. Those that don't, it's all good too. But that's the end of this podcast, fellas. Peoples, if you not subscribed, please do subscribe to the podcast. I'm going to have guests, and it's going to be totally different. This is season 2. So I'm going to be covering a lot because I feel like there's a lot that needs to be said. So make sure you subscribe. Peace and love, guys. And remember, it's just not worth it. Peace.